Hello and welcome to How to Play Rummy 500. In order to play, all you need is a standard 52 card deck and a way to keep score. Rummy is intended for 2 to 6 players, but if you want to play with more than 6, you're going to need to grab another deck of cards. While playing, you're going to go through multiple rounds where you're trying to lay down as many melds as possible and be the first player to score 500 points or more. So to begin, let's talk about what melds are very briefly. At the top of the screen is what's called a set. Those are 3 or more of the same rank, such as those 3 8s. At the bottom of the screen is what's called a run, also known as a straight in poker. Runs must be the same suit, and both runs and sets have to be 3 or more cards. To begin, determine who is going to be the dealer. Do that by cutting the deck. Lowest card deals first. In a game that has 3 or more players, give each player 7 cards. If you're playing a 2-player game, each player is going to get 13 cards. Once you have dealt all the cards, the remainder of the deck is the stockpile, and that goes in the center of the playing space. Flip the first card over to become the beginning of the discard pile. It's time to begin play. The player who goes first can choose to draw the card from the top of the stockpile or the card from the discard pile. If you have created any melds in your hand, you can lay those down on the table in front of you. Once you're done with your turn, discard one of the cards from your hand to the discard pile. Notice that the card does not go directly on top of the card before it. Instead, they are staggered, creating a row of cards for the discard pile. Play like this continues until one of the players have discarded their final card. Now you may be asking, why is the discard pile a row instead of a stack? Well, there's a special rule in how to play with the discard pile in Rummy. A player may take the card that is on top of the discard pile and add it to their hand. Or they may take a card that is buried in the discard pile. But if they do, they have to take all of the cards that are on top of it. And they must immediately play that first card they wanted in a meld. This player needed the 5. So they picked up the 5 and all of the cards that were on top of it. They immediately played the set of 5s down on the table. Seeing they had nothing else they could do, they discarded and their turn is over. It's possible to play cards on other people's melds. For example, in this game, there are 3 5s laid down out on the table. This player has drawn a 5 and can lay it down for points of his own. Anytime you do this, you must announce the meld that you are playing off of. Sometimes a player will draw a card and not realize that it can be played on an opponent's meld, and they discard the card. If this happens, anybody else at the table can yell, "Rummy!" and immediately get the card. Then they announce which meld it goes on, and they get the points. The end of a round occurs when a player discards their final card. Sometimes a player does not have a card to discard because they were able to lay down all of the cards in their hand. If this happens, they have to wait until their next turn to draw and discard. Here, the player draws a 2, plays it, and discards their 9. The round is over. It's time to tally up the score. Now let's talk about points. In Rummy 500, aces are worth 15, face cards are worth 10, and all number cards are worth 5 points. To figure out your score, add up the point total of all the cards that you laid down in front of you. This player has earned 35 points. All of their number cards were worth 5. The rest of the players who were unable to get rid of all their cards will have to first add up the total of the cards they laid in front of them and then subtract the total points that are still in their hand. So this player was able to lay down 50 points, but they had 25 points in their hand, leaving them with a score of 25. The final player had a score of -5. They were able to lay down 20 points, but they had 25 points in their hand, leaving them with a score of -5. Before you go, I'm going to give you a little bonus rule for the aces. Typically, aces are either played high or low, meaning that the run stops with the ace as the highest card, or the run begins with the ace as the lowest card. There's a special rule you can play called going round the corner. If you play by that rule, the run doesn't have to stop at the ace or begin at the ace, but it can continue right through. So in this example, the run goes Jack, Queen, King, Ace, 2, 3, 4. It allows for really large runs to happen and makes it a little easier for runs to form.